Page 34.
Before holding. After the Perek Ezem you have a paragraph which begins with Rabbi Yishmael Omer Bishlosh Esrei Midot Torah Nidreshet Lahem. Remember that one? Page 38. Rabbi Yishmael says there are 13 ways in which the Torah is expounded on. Kalvachomer, Zerasheva, and so on. 13 midot of the Torah, as it's called. Alright? Now, today, you said Hallel? The second paragraph in Hallel, it says, Yitzet Yisrael Mitzrayim, Vayam Ra'av Vayanos. The sea, when the Jews came to the Red Sea, the waters were so stormy, and the waters divided. It says in Hallel, Hayam Ra'av Vayanos. The sea, the Red Sea, saw, and it fled. It divided. So the Midrash asks, it just says in Tehillim, this is a chapter in Tehillim. The sea saw and it fled. So the Midrash asks, what did the sea observe? Why did it see that it fled? What was it so afraid of? The Yiddish says, what did it see? It saw Yosef HaTzadik. They were carrying the coffin of Yosef HaTzadik, and he was so great a Tzadik that the waters fled and they divided. But the Midrash says, what did the Yam see? The Yam saw the Baraita of Rabbi Yishmael. This is a Baraita that means like a Mishnah. It's what a Baraita is. It's not listed among Mishnah, but it has the same power, the same rabbi's name. The Yam, the Red Sea, saw the Baraita of Rabbi Yishmael Omer, and that caused the sea to flee. Now, who could ever explain that statement? The Red Sea saw this Baraita, that made it run. How could there be an explanation for that? One of the great Baalei Kabbalah explained this way. Fantastic. I'm just overwhelmed, I can't speak. I'm serious, this is one of the most fantastic explanations I've ever seen yet. Listen. The Gemara says in Megillah that when the Jews came to the Red Sea, they went into the water, so the Satan got up and he started to yell, Halalu the Jews in Egypt worshipped idols, and the Mitzrayim, the Egyptians worshipped idols. Why should these be saved and these should be drowned? Tremendous claim. Why are these better than these? And it was very difficult for an answer to be given in heaven. Very difficult. This was the hardest part. We say it's as difficult as dividing the waters of the Red Sea. By Hashem, no miracle is difficult. But to answer this question was a difficult point. So what was the answer? Why were the Jews saved and the Egyptians were not saved? Now we come to the second point. And we say Jews. When did the Jews become a nation? From when on were they considered Jews? Was it from the moment they received the Torah at Mount Sinai? They got the Torah, now they are Bnei Yisrael, the Jews, a nation. Or do they start from the time of Abraham Avinu, the first Jew? This is the question. But when on were they considered Jews? Now it's not so easy to say one or the other, because after all, Jews means they are observing the mitzvot. Before that, they didn't have mitzvot. Before that, there were 7 mitzvot. It's called the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach. As children of Noach, they had 7 mitzvot to obey. The 7 which the Goyim have today. When were they obligated to obey 613 mitzvot? When they got the Torah. So from when on were they considered Jews, Bnei Yisrael? This is a very vital and posing question. Now, we go on to another point. Just keep this question in mind, and then we'll bring them all together. Next point is, why do we say always that the greatest power in existence, the greatest power in this world, which means the 50th degree, 49th degrees of Kedusha, 50th degree is way above, it's the crown of all. Greatest power, the 50th degree is the power of Teshuva. Hashem gave this power of Teshuva to the world, to the Jews. It's tremendous because after all, the Torah itself states clearly a person who commits a sin must die for the sin. That's the power of Torah. Teshuva is higher. Teshuva says even though you committed a sin, the law says die, and Teshuva says no. You're saved if you do Teshuva. That's the biggest power in the world that exists. Hashem created is the power of Teshuva. Now, when does Teshuva help? Depends. We have three laws. There's a din of the kavod, the honor for a father. Second is the kavod of Rabbi, the honor for a rabbi, or a chief rabbi. And the third is kavod melech, the honor for a king. Now, how important, how strict is this mitzvah of honor? The Gemara says that if a father is willing to forgive, to overlook his honor, then he has that power. He says, Torah says, honor me, but I'm willing to forfeit this honor. You don't have to. In other words, he says to his son, I allow you to sit in my chair. His son is allowed to sit in his father's chair, because the father could be mochel, he could forgive for his kavod. He could be mochel, forgive for his kavod. The second case is a rabbi who's higher. The Torah says, the Gemara says that the rabbi says to his student, I allow you to sit, not to stand up. He has the power, the rabbi has the power to be mochel for his kavod. Third case is a king. Here the Gemara says, a king does not have the power to forgive his kavod. Son tasim alecha melech sheteheh but the Torah says that the fear of the king must be upon you, and nobody can remove that fear, not even the king himself. The king could not say, I'm mochel my kavod. Even the king cannot do that. The king cannot forgive his kavod. Now, listen carefully. Now we see the difference between a Jew and a Goy. How come there is a law that a Jew has the power of Teshuva and a Goy does not? If a Goy commits a sin, he does not have the privilege of Teshuva. Why that law? What's the secret reason behind it? And here he reveals that reason. Because Hashem says to the Jews, Banim atem la Hashem, you are children by Hashem. You are considered my children. If you are my children, I am your father. And the father will be mochel his kavod. But by Goyim is Kimelach, I'll call Goyim Hashem. Hashem is king over Goyim. A king cannot be mochel his kavod. Goyim, if you commit a sin against me, I'm your king. I haven't got the power. It's impossible for me to forgive you. So Teshuva cannot help for Goyim if they commit a sin, because a king cannot be mochel his kavod. Follow? Now, what was the answer here? When the Jews came to the Red Sea, the Satan got up and he started to scream, these committed idol worship, these committed this or that. Why should the Jews lie and say they did not? So Hashem said, simple. The Jews did Teshuva. The Goyim, whether they did or not, makes no difference. The Jews are my children, and the Goyim are not. Therefore, the Jews are forgiven, their lives are saved, and the Goyim are not. So the Satan said, not so fast. Who says they're Jews? They didn't get the Torah yet. When they get the Torah, then they are Jews. Meanwhile, they're not Jews yet. Powerful question. They're not Jews yet. They're in the same category. They don't even have the same mitzvot. These are servants of these seven mitzvot. Well, they have they have the same category as Goyim. If they have 612 mitzvot, they're not Jews yet. A Jew must have the Torah, which means 630 mitzvot. Until he has the last mitzvah, he's not complete. They cannot be considered very mitzvot until they receive the Torah. Right where they haven't received it yet, are they classified as Jews? Good question. So, the question now is, does Teshuva help for them? They are not, they have not received the Torah. Could Teshuva help for them? So we go back to a case to prove that it does. We have to find that they are considered Jews as of Avraham Avinu. So the Torah says, the Gemara says, that Yishmael, the son of Abraham, did Teshuva. Follow this carefully, without sleeping. Yishmael, the son of Abraham, did Teshuva. Why is his Teshuva accepted? It says, first let's say he did Teshuva. It can be the fact that it says he did it. If it says he did Teshuva, it means it's accepted. Where do we find he did Teshuva? And if we can prove he did Teshuva, that's going to help us and clear the whole thing, because then it shows that they are Jews from Avraham Avinu's time. Pasuk says that when Avraham Avinu was nistalek, the Torah says, "Vayigbor oto Yitzchak v'Yishmael banav." That Yitzchak and Yishmael, Abraham's sons, buried him. So the Gemara says this proves Yishmael did Teshuva. The Gemara says Yitzchak v'Yishmael. First Yitzchak, then Yishmael. Ishmael was older. He should come first. Ishmael said, I want to do Teshuva. Go ahead. Yitzchak. Now the fact that Torah writes that Yitzchak and Ishmael buried him shows that Ishmael did Teshuva. Fine. You don't need better proof than that. This proves it. And Teshuva helped. It shows that the Jews are considered Jews from Avraham Avinu's time. And if so, you should not help somebody. Satan couldn't say anything. But the question now is, we have a general rule, as is brought in the Zohar Kadosh. The Zohar Kadosh tells us that one of the rabbis in the Zohar once invited a poor man to come to his house. Very poor man, very hungry man, and this man was starving. Took him to the table and he said to him, first let me test you. You know Chumash? You know Gemara? The man didn't answer. He says, in that case, go eat by the door. I'll give you food like I give to the dogs. Remember Haaretz was to be fed like an animal. The man went to the door, he laid down, he went to sleep. He got up a little bit later. He came back to the table, and he said to his big tzadik, he said, the way you act, if you continue to act like this, your children are going to die. Then he said, Chas v'shalom, they shouldn't die. So the rabbi said to this poor man, why do you take your curse back? Why did you draw back your curse? Because the Gemara says that if a chacham curses, even if it's only on a t'nai, on a conditional curse, in other words, curse if you do this, and the person doesn't do anything, the curse still must come true. Proof is that Yaakov Avinu, when he fled from Lavan's house, and his wife Rachel stole a little idol from Lavan, and Lavan came chasing after him, so Yaakov said to him, if anybody here stole your idols, then let them die. This is why Rachel passed away before they got to Israel. She's buried in Menachem outside of Yerushalmi. We see from there that a tzadik who gives a curse, even though it's on condition, and the t'nai must come true. Therefore I withdrew my curse because I don't want it. The rabbi said to him, this is only a chacham who does that. Well, what do you know about Torah? He said, well, I'll tell you what else this is to show you Torah. He said, I'm going to tell you about the secrets of Kabbalah. But first, I will tell you another proof of this fact, that a conditional person that tzaddik holds true. And Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, when he broke the tablets, he came back and he prayed to Hashem and said, forgive the Jews. So Hashem said, I am going to wipe out all the Jews, Chas v'shalom. Moshe Rabbeinu said, if you hurt the Jews, I demand that you erase me from the Torah. Erase my name from the Torah. Kill me, erase my name from the Torah. Otherwise, forgive the Jews. So Hashem said, all right, I forgive the Jews. But Moshe Rabbeinu had made that curse already. He said it already. It had to come true. Where did it come true? In Parashat Atat Tzaveh, which deals with the Beit HaMikdash, you will not find Moshe Rabbeinu's name mentioned once in the whole Parashat Atat Tzaveh. This is where the curse came from, that Parashat. And not only that, but coincidentally, I don't mean Chassidut statement, remarkably, this Parashat Atat Tzaveh is read every year in the week of Zayin Abba, the day of Moshe Rabbeinu's Stalkut. That Parashat is read. Raise me, kill me, that Parashat comes out just that week. So we see from there that the curse must come true. This rabbi, the Zohar, asked this poor man, and he said, I'm very sorry, forgive me for what I did, and so on, but let me ask you a question, he said. What you say is cute, but how can you say it is so? That this is the result of Moshe Rabbeinu's curse. Atat Tzaveh comes first, the Parashat. And then later, the next Parashat comes the story of the tablets and the curse and everything. So if his curse worked, he should have erased the Parashat later on. How come before? This said in the Torah, there is no chronological order, there's no sequence. One Parashat does not follow a second one in time. You can have this Parashat happen later, this one happen first. It's not in Muktam, U'Miuchad, Torah. In Seder Torah. There's no order in the Torah of time. They don't put one before the other because it came before. There's no Seder, no order to the Torah. So, fine, we have that rule, there's no Seder to the Torah. Well, the question is, if we say there is no Seder to the Torah, no order from the words of the Torah, then how could you bring proof from this pasuk that Yishmael did Teshuva? How can you prove it from there? After all, it says there, the whole proving that says that Yitzchak and Yishmael buried Avraham. And who says it's in order? It could be Yishmael and Yitzchak. What proof do you have that everything is in order? Could be this came before that. Yitzchak came before Yishmael. You say there's no order in the Torah.
Chronological order.
No, the words of Hashem is not merged. That's the question. So if that's the case, since we state definitely that there's no order in the Torah, so how could you prove now that this is proof that Yishmael did Teshuva? Now we come to the next question. The Baraita Rabbi Yishmael says, Rabbi Yishmael Omer, the Torah is learned in 13 different ways. Miklav from a prat to klav. Klav means a general statement. Prat means an individual word, individual case. So the rule is, he says, in the Torah you find a klav first, general first, and then prat. For instance, it says that you should take some, eat a certain kind, eat general food for this holiday. Then it says prat, only this food, it's a contradiction. Eat all and then only this. We always follow the last one, the prat. When it says first the individual item, then it says the klal, we follow the last one again. It says, for instance, if you find an animal, return it to the owner. And if you find anything, return it to the owner, any lost article. So since the general word came after the individual word, that's the law. Not just an animal you find, but anything you find. Any avodah, lost article, you must pay to the owner. Now, two questions. First place, there is a law, and a Jew is not allowed to be called, never call your son, never give your son a name after somebody in the past who is an Asher. Nobody can hardly call that Asher's name. Always give your son a name for somebody who's a tzadik. Secondly, so in other words, this question is, how do you have the title here, Rabbi Yishmael Omer? Rabbi Yishmael says, how did he get this name, Rabbi Yishmael? Yishmael is an Asher. How can we call him Rabbi Yishmael? How did his father give him that name? Secondly, we see from here that this rule of there is no order in the Torah, this must be a rule for one parasha to the next. One chapter to the next is not in order. But words in a sentence must be in order. Proof is because he says cloud or flat. If in one sentence you have an animal, then returning animal and everything, depends which comes first. The one that comes last is the one that does the law. So we must say that in a sentence we do take literally the words of the Torah in order. If the cloud comes first, we follow the plant. The plant comes first, we follow the cloud. So we must say that in one sentence, the Torah does carefully place in order those words, because the whole law is based on the order of the words in the sentence. So therefore, Rabbi Yishmael is named Rabbi Yishmael, because when it says, Vayibor Oto, Yitzhak and Yishmael, his sons buried him, in this sentence, it's in one sentence. In one sentence, the words do come in perfect order. So therefore, this proves Yishmael did Teshuva. Rabbi Yishmael could be called Rabbi Yishmael because he is not named after Hashem, but somebody who did Teshuva. How do we know all this? Because of the Baraita which says, Rabbi Yishmael says that words in a sentence do come in perfect order. And this proves that Yishmael did Teshuva. Now, when the Jews were at the Red Sea, the sea saw something and it had to run. The Satan was screaming, the Jews should drown just like the Egyptians. And suddenly the sea saw the Baraita Yishmael, which says that the Torah is in order in a sentence, which proves that Yishmael did the Teshuva, which proves that the Shabbat helps from then on, from the time of Aharon on, which means that the Shabbat the Jews did in Egypt is an effective Shabbat. If so, these are not the same. These are idol worshippers and these are idol worshippers. They aren't. The Jews did Teshuva and they are considered Jews already, as is proven by Yishmael's Teshuva. If they consider Jews already, Hashem accepts the Teshuva. If they would have done Teshuva, they accept because Hashem is the king over them. So therefore, this was the answer to the Satan. You claim that the Jews shouldn't be saved. Look at the Baraita of Yishmael, which proves that they are capable of doing Teshuva. Therefore, Egyptians were Yishmael. Therefore, the sea had to flood. As soon as Baraita of Yishmael. The Bnei Yishmael were going to Jews. The Bnei Yishmael were from Jews.
Was he considered Jews? Going to
Right. The sons of Abraham. The sons of Abraham had a prerogative, choice. Until Yaakov Abinu, you had a choice. In other words, Esav could have been 100% Jew if he wanted to. But I had a choice. Well, for instance, the wife was Jewish. Doesn't matter, that's the point. Rabbi Nachman on his children, Yitzhak and Yishmael, each one could have been a Jew. He wanted to.
Are they automatically born Jewish?
No.
His wife is Jewish.
So we're not considered Jewish until how about Yitzhak and Rivka? His wife is Jewish. He had his son Esav. Was Esav a Jew? No. That's all of it. No, in that time, Yaakov was by choice. Yaakov was mitash direct, complete purity. That's why we are called Bnei Yisrael, not Bnei Abraham. Bnei Yisrael. Because that means Yisrael is Jew. A Jew begins from Bnei Yisrael. Yaakov, there's no more choice after that. You're born a Jew, and you can't change that under any conditions in the world. It is impossible for a Jew to change his religion. He can go to the Goyim, to the priest, to the fathers, sprinkle a little bit of waters, means nothing, because means nothing. He does not change the religion of a Jew. Once born a Jew, he's a Jew for the rest of his life. The Goyim have the power of converting. A Jew is out of the power. A Jew is permanently a Jew. What power do they have to convert? If they want, by choice.
But where does this choice come? This came back also from the time of Abraham and Isaac?
Right.
When the time of Abraham, it was hard.
Well, Yitzchak was a Jew because he accepted the Torah of the Lord.
Excuse me, I don't want to put this.
What's the question? It's just like a convert. Right, but not exactly.
What's the question? What age do they have the choice? In the 13 or?
Well, at the Machlokes was 13. The Rash says that if Rash says that Yaakov and Esav, this is a chidush, but the stranger it seems that it's written in the Torah. So Yaakov and Esav, it says, even though the Torah says that before Rivka gave birth to Yaakov and Esav, there were twins within her. As she passed by a knis, one would kick to get out, Yaakov, and she passed by any kind of a place, Esav would kick to get out. That would see that before birth, it already was finished. Yet the Midrash says that when they were born, until the age of 13, you couldn't recognize a difference. Both tzadikim. At the age of 13, there was a complete separation of the ways. Yaakov went to Kedusha, Esav went to Tumah. Various degrees apart.
What did they study in Greece? Taking up Torah and then went to the
They did.
Remember Torah?
The Torah was given orally to Adam. He was first created. Adam passed it on to individuals. But they were not considered as responsible for it. So now, when you want to run out, you must obey 630 laws. You have no choice. And then, only the big tzadikim did it by will. For instance, remember this question once brought? Let me imagine. Someone wrote here. Listen to this point. Not a chidush. Maybe you should know this one. A man rents a house. So he has two possibilities. This is brought in Shulchan Aruch, and it's brought at length that Moshe Feinstein said it too. A man rents a house in America, let's say. The question of putting up a mezuzah. The law requires that a mezuzah is put up after 30 days, not until 30 days are over. Why? It's not like that to go without it. And why should he put mezuzah up? Put it the first day. The answer is that since the law requires mezuzah after 30 days, so it means that you can make a beracha only on the 31st day, not before. So it's better to be without a mezuzah the first 30 days in order to be able to make a beracha on the 31st day. Because if you already have it up on the first day without a beracha, you can't take it down afterwards and put it again. There is a lost beracha. It's better to have it up with on the 31st day with a beracha rather than have it done before.
If you can on the first day with a beracha?
Right. That's what they required. They require on the 31st day.
99% of you very much.
If you buy a house, it's the first day. If you rent a house, it's your rent. So, well,
This house has to be the first day.
The other question is, it's a very strange, difficult law. I mean, very difficult to accept without understanding. You have a house, and live without a mezuzah because you have to wait 31 days. Prove it. Always prove this law. That reason, but prove it. What proof do you have that it's better to wait till the 31st day with a beracha rather than do it before? Proof. But beautiful, concrete proof. The answer is, the Torah says, the Gemara in Kiddushin, page 82, that Avraham was not required to obey the Torah, and still he obeyed every single law in the Torah without being required, even the laws of the Rabbanan, including a rule of the washing hands himself, the laws of the Rabbanan. He obeyed every single law in the Torah without being required to obey it until Hashem said to him finally, now I take you as a Jew, and now I give you the laws, and now go make the Brit Milah at the age of 99. Why did Avraham obey every law in the Torah as a child, 3 years old? At the age of 3, he obeyed every law in the Torah, including the smallest minor laws. And he waited 99 years before making the Brit Milah. That's the most important as well. Why did you do it at age of 3? The age of 6, the age of 13. Why did you live 99 years without a brit? I have a question. This is something. Why did you live 99 years for it? The answer is because he said, if you do mitzvah and you're not required to, it's a mitzvah. But there's no comparison to doing it when you are told by Hashem. When you are required to, it's a much bigger mitzvah then. Well, every mitzvah that he did, he said, I put on tefillin. What do I do? I get a mitzvah for it. And Hashem would tell me to put it on, I'm going to be a mitzvah. But if I would do it at the age of 3 and beat me now, and I'm not required to, and Hashem tells me I can't do it anymore, it's finished. I lost the chance of doing it as one is commanded. You can do it once in your lifetime. I'd rather wait 99 years and get the chance to do it, commanded to do it, rather than do it 99 years not commanded and lose that possibility. Same thing here. If you put a mitzvah you do it on the first day, when the 31st day comes, you haven't got a chance anymore to do it with the command. Asher Kirishanu Tanvitzivanu commanded me. It's there already. So you lose that chance to do it as one is commanded. So then to wait for 30 days and not put it on, and then on the 31st day you do it with a bracha and command a man to put it on and get to the set as one is commanded. This proves what Avraham Avinu that it's better to wait 30 days and then put it on with a bracha rather than do it before for that. Yeah.
If you put one day first, the third day, and 31 days later, from the rest of the
you're still losing that method.
This is a combination of choosing the way it was
yeah. Therefore, we brought out this point. This is the mitzvah mizuzah. Tikuney is the mitzvah which shows the arm next to the heart that we bind our heart in faith to Hashem. The head, really it shows that we bind our mind, our brain, the neshama and our brain to Hashem. And all this is not complete, because this is temporary. You walk out of the house, kiss the mezuzah. The morning you're selling, you have tefillin. But a whole day, you are tied to Hashem if you're wearing tzitzit. That's for sure a person goes without tzitzit, and right time you no mitzvah. That time you don't learn to rap. You're asleep. After dark, so you don't put on tefillin on Shabbat. So, what's your question? So you know what you want to be to take off the tzitzit at night? Same question from the beginning. Right? You're not required to wear it. Right, so the minute off. The minute we take it off. But we don't do it because there is one opinion in the Gemara which says you should wear it at night too. The Gemara is not like that at all, but still, to show complete disdain, I'm moving it, take it off because I'm tired of it. You are allowed to take it off, definitely, yes, by law. But it's not polite, that's all.
Let's prove another point though. If the question comes up, are you allowed to take it off at night? Assuming you're obligated to wear it at day.
No.
It's a chavruta, no?
No, it's not the question. The main point, let's get this point clear. By day, this is the one sign that a Jew has when he's tied to Hashem. Now, we'll make it even stronger. This is the only mitzvah in the Torah. When the Gemara says this mitzvah is equals to 613 mitzvah. 2 proofs to it. 2 proofs. 1, the word tzitzit is begimatria, numerical value 600. There are 5 knots on the tzitzit and 8 strings. That's 613. It shows that tzitzit is begimatria 613 mitzvot, equals to all mitzvot. Not only that, but the pasuk itself in Kriyat Shema says, you should wear tzitzit u'reitem oto, you should see u'zachartem et kol mitzvot Hashem. This will bring it under all mitzvot Hashem. Look at tzitzit, you see all mitzvot Hashem. How? Just this is equals to all 613 mitzvot. That's how important tzitzit is. To wear it every day, completely from morning until night, is not a prerogative. It's not an elective mitzvah. It's a required mitzvah. As for shalom for a person to say that tzitzit is not compulsory. A person like that, the Shulchan Arizal says, we say again, that a person could be zocheh when he passes away, be zocheh to see the Shekhinah. That is impossible for one who is not wearing tzitzit. To see the Shekhinah is possible only if a person wears tzitzit. Without that, he doesn't pass through. Not to see it. This is his. That's why we say, look at the tzitzit, kiss them when you say kiss. Look at it as straight as the eyes of the Neshama. This gives the eyes of the Neshama the power afterwards to see the Shekhinah. This goes together with closing the eyes of Yamidah, because the special chibut hakevah, person dies, the angels strike the eyes of a person first. The first thing strikes is the eyes, like Shimshon's eyes were knocked out first. But a person who, when he says Kiddush, he kisses it, puts it on his eyes and kisses this makes them immune to any blow by the Malachim, the angel of death after death. That's how important and great is the power of tzitzit. My point is that a person should see to it to wear tzitzit constantly. Never be without it. This is your badge, your medal showing you are a Jew with the Torah. 630 mitzvot. When it has tzitzit and tefillin and mezuzah on his door, that person is assured of kedusha surrounding him at all times, day and night, wherever he goes, and of protection against the Yitzhara, against suffering, against Yisurim, Chas v'Shalom, and is assured of a shield of Kedusha and long life. Long life here and in Amabah.
You don't have a lot of people rabbis in the Hammer night? You don't believe it?
I don't believe that.
Huh?
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
We don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't believe rabbis don't wear tzitzit.
I'm not saying but the rabbis, I'm saying that the whole Yemenite is a rule. There's a lot of religious
That's you have a lot of Americans who are not learned, they don't know about this, they don't do it.
No, it's still really about striking the eyes and everything that's in the Gemara. About kissing the seed on the eye. Was that the
Amidah. Close your eyes because you're not supposed to look outside of the Siddur.
Concentrate for the...
Well, no, you're not supposed to look outside because you are not in the room with you. You're not in the kish. You're not in this world. You ascend up to the throne room of Hashem. So you're standing before the king. How can you look around something else? It's the most disrespectful act. The person looks away. The guards, the honor guard, king's guards strike that person's eyes looking away. So you must either keep your eyes closed or look in the Islam book only, nothing else.
I have a question. Today in the Chodesh, let's say... yes.
For Shachrit or for Mincha?
For Shachrit.
Yeah.
So when I talk this with Amidah, I have to go back and say it over again, Yahid.
Right.
Now, would I pray in the Amidah or I'm praying Yahid?
Well, that's what we do.
Huh?
What do we do?
Even though they went to Halal, they went to Halal.
Yeah.
And I spoke.
Right.
If it's in the why am I covered?
That's the roof.
No respect. You have to require some taking the
yes, you said it. You said you got it then.
Right.
Until you got to the say.
I said the harm got it done.
The Russian correct. Until you got to the say.
Yeah.
Know what it say?
Yeah.
You were saying that we got with everybody else, right? Until you covered with the tzibur.
Yeah.
That's the thing you got that idea. But you can't subtract the credit you have until you with tzibur.
I see.
You must say, oh, you're going to do something with tzibur.
That's all. Even though it's clever.
Nothing you do is speaking. Smoke, that's what makes no difference.
No, another question. There's a problem. One word was erasing the Siddur. And I put instead of a samach, I put a nun in there. not thinking of the word. I'll show you.
I'm sure it's honest because the Torah says that I understand the Sarach.
Yeah.
You know it says Ashrei, one of the most famous tefillot which you say 3 times a day. The Ashrei goes according to the Aleph Bet. Ashrei, the Chol Yerachek, and Kedol Hashem, the Aleph Bet, the Aleph Bet. Now there is no nun there. There's a Samach but no nun. You put nun instead of a Samach. Why no nun? Because nun stays when we laugh, falling. Samach, the word Samach means support.
Yeah.
So therefore, King David says that he put inside the letter nun anyhow. It's by Samach. So Mech Hashem L'chol HaNoflim. Hashem supports the nun, the fallen ones.
This is the word. So he's one of the fallen ones? This is true. I said, that's what I like the fluency. I have 2 jobs. One is fluency, like not R&B. I put the lace. It's like, and I'm trying to switch out this one between but I couldn't think of it. Before you got that, I put a mean there. I said, the blind is on the smoke. You would turn the whole house into kiruv. I was married, I was thinking, and right away, this other one, with them. The beginning of the States. Is that right?
That's for sure.
Huh?
That's for sure.
You know how many people I should do that?
That's not true. When you see people do it, when you see these things, don't get the impression that they're right. And many of them haven't learned the laws, and they don't know.
What do they say? Amidah first? Come on, they'll say Amidah. Right? So they said Amidah, but don't do it. So that's the stage Amidah before you say Baruch. I've seen it. No,
I have worse than that, which I let me know, much worse. Look around next time you're in Knesset in the middle of the week. Look carefully and see how many people are wearing tefillin and how many are not.
Right. Not much.
Well, you want to make it better?
You kosher, not kosher, right?
You can't see what's kosher inside.
No.
That's sort of wearing tefillin kosher. How many are wearing, how many are not wearing tefillin?
Who's not wearing it correctly?
In other words, the bar mitzvah, that's he's not wearing tefillin, and the bracha he says is Moshe Hashem Razain. It's a double sin. You watch, see how many people there are wearing tefillin properly. Tefillin down below are not wearing tefillin. That's nothing. Not the other side, no. That's number 28.
Yeah, but a lot of times the person sets it up, and in his movement, he moves, he has tendency to move to the
that's why the Shulchan says you must always keep feeling the tefillin throughout the whole shlock. Yeah.
And when you put those tefillin on, the strap can't touch it. The one can't touch the other one.
But if it does, it's no damage.
Rabbi, the answer is for the shoe. Nobody else anyway.
Why don't you go on the shoe? We don't have this in the house.
So Eddie goes, everywhere the shoe. What is your Sephardi?
No, this is how you
He's a Sephardi. I'm supposed to be Sephardi, right? Nothing to blame about. Okay, what is the question? The Ashkenaz put a shoe, 3 straps this way, it comes to a shoe, right? I don't know, the Ashkenaz, it's a benza. Oh, that's it. So now it's this way, we put it this way, on top of each other. I know. So the guy told me, what's the Kaddish with this way? Now let's put kind of time to this. There's no shoe there. No shoe. Let's put a shoe there, the benza out of that. I mean. I got to learn how to do it. He goes like this, to make me look like you were
No, I have to research. I just got to the making that. I didn't know what people saying is. It's like, you know?
Different every day of your life. You couldn't make a difference. Actually.
Yeah, sometimes
there is one way or the other. The Eskimos do the 3-way, and the Sephardi do this way. So why don't the Sephardi make it to like the Eskimos and another shoe? Why does it put it 8 times over all kosher.
We put 7, no?
No, we put 8. I can actually, you didn't have enough last Sunday. You left too early. It's not early. You would have put it on
this guy. I want to ask you a question. Is he allowed to yell out, and it's not, he's not the Hazan, we know in the question that you're not allowed to?
How maybe they play? That's all. That's a good question. What time are you talking about now?
He's talking about main pay, comes all right.
Just a minute. And this? Purchase. And this? Purchase. Okay, let me ask you a question. He just said the same. It was 9 to the Shema today, 9 after 9.
It was 9:15 this week, you know?
10 after 9. It's not a good Kadosh says that any person who doesn't say Kriyat Shema on time is not known for that day. I'm covered every day, but I also every day.
What did my wife and I got let me get to the show? Why? 2 hours to 2 hours. I was going to show you what there was. Next time I have to say Baruch, all those good affairs in the house. I want to listen to one thing. Rabbi, ABC and just assume about Elokim and Elokim Abo. Is that correct? Right. Now, I said, you're not allowed to yell it out. I yelled it out for his benefit today to you, and he still didn't say it. That's why I said, I'm not in the in his ear. So look at the meaning like really, I think that makes sense. I know he did. And he still didn't say it. I know he said, if I lie, yell it out. Only the Hazan. So if he yelled out, then he was laughing at it. He didn't say it. I never heard that. Yes, the Rabbi had that. Yeah, the Rabbi said the whole room, all the Hazans a lot of stuff. Is that really a reason? I'm saying no, you don't, John. No, that was the question. You said, I mean, good. He didn't say it. He didn't say that? Chazit for that guy. It's not covered. Oh, God, man. I wish I needed them like that.
I said, on the contrary. You know, it's a lot. What do you say? The show out loud and save somebody else from getting it.
I see. I thought
you're picking me for helping me, huh?
No, I thought you're not supposed to. Only hygienic supposed to.
I'm helping you. I'm saying it for your benefit. I'm not saying for you. What do you think he was good? You think that was Kurdish?
No, I might have said today, no, I spoke to somebody last night that said that in Shul it doesn't say Barchina Shi after it. Right? Right? Isn't that right? When I heard this, I really like, I figured like,
What's the first line if the second line is really? The second line is really, what's the first line? I'm saying that Yes, that is the first day is the second. I
didn't say
now this one is saying I just said no.
She's another day of full month. It's like the first day of the month. But that's nothing to do with the word Rosh Chodesh itself. Yes, the reason that you're having Rosh Chodesh 2 days is because the month is really not 29 days or 30 days. The month is exactly 29 days, 12 hours, and 793,1,807 hours. You can't have every month exactly that long. So you have to have a month with full days, 29 days, 30 days. But when you have a 30-day month, and you have the 30th day is in Chodesh, the next day also is in Chodesh, part of that 30th day is the beginning of the new month. Understand? You can't say it's the second day only. It's part of both. That's what the Rambam says. This question was, I'm not saying you have to rule now, two Rosh Chodesh and that one. You're the first of Rosh Chodesh. So I asked somebody, I said, well, it's in Torah, the Torah the Chata and you're not. And you're not. Don't talk about it, and you're not. That's what that's the word. What is that? That's on the tree, you see. I said it on the Torah level, which is still considered the most fair than much. Is it in the house or still in the city? What kind? You know, in the city. I'm going to my wife and me. I just don't know. Sure is. Rabbi, I want to ask you one question. I told him about 12 things. He tells me, hey, really listen. How come he doesn't know? That's what I want to know. That's how the question is about it. You see this thing with the honey there? You was there when you said it. 4 times. You just say that. When you tell me that, I told you all from the rabbi, all he had was to do no, sir. I don't know what to do. Rabbi, you told me that I don't believe it. I don't. Did you hear from the rabbi? This is what I heard from someone else. I'm sorry. Let me put out in all the years. That's what Yaakov rabbi, the biggest rabbi in the world, was like Moshe Feinstein. What's the best year? He said, my credit is that I never in my life said one word of Torah other than what I heard from my rabbi. Nothing was that kind. All right, you're wrong again. No, let's check it. I don't know. That's what he said. You're wrong again, but that was his question. I never, that's what he was saying. I'm asking a question about this, what he said. If a man learns in the yeshiva, and there's an official rabbi, but he learns in the yeshiva, he learns halakha, he cannot say what he learned. People can't learn what he said. His rabbi can't learn what he said. It's dangerous. Because wouldn't that be achieving no? No, but you can't learn. If you learn Rabbi, it's the highest degree. You can't teach every word. Moshe Feinstein said in the Torah future, they said Hashem gave someone greater than that's a word that we can't, we're not allowed to touch on. What would when it comes to comparing the Yaakov, that's like the door, we can't touch that point.
I mean, the language is great. If he said everything was right, he said, of course he said.
But the reason why he said that statement.
Oh, God, that's...
He knows something from the He should tell for me, that's what you want, I gotta listen to him.
I know.
So I thought, I don't want to hear from all my rabbis. He says, you have to learn next week, and I learn from everybody. You learn from everybody. You learn everybody. I learn from, you learn from a very high level. You're not Catholic, and I learn, who do you think is going? Yes, you did not. Yes, I said, who told me that? You said, no. I said,
Adam is بتسلم الوكيل
If I learn it from another rabbi,
depends who you go ahead.
1 second. Could be Rabbi Nachman. Go ahead. Excuse me, I'm just saying. So I learned from my official rabbi, I learned from Rabbi Nachman. Yeah, but you didn't, obviously, because let's say, this was a so-called case.
So not for sure you don't learn something. Back to our question. I asked you, who do you learn from? You said, I don't know.
I said,
You're about to study what the rabbi told her.
let's say a man that was a multi-millionaire.
anytime.
Then he's a poor. To what extent do this man something for the rabbi for that?
What? Any time of the day and night.
It's confusing that you're looking
What?
at
What is the
rabbi and I put a name and said,
Staying out of it.
You only need 20 rings.
That doesn't make any difference. Which one is it?
I just answered the question. Yes, I understand what you said. But I didn't read it this course. I I'm reading from down there.
Make up again.
But you're mixing up two different things. Okay, this quoting. Okay. Well, that's good too. But you distorted it. But you distorted it. You just read it. That's fact. That's not your way. Have some credit. Whatever you will.
He's used to two maids and he becomes a poor person. We just went for that question. Just sure.
What's
just one more point now.
Are you out of it?
I'll teach it to you.
You're all right? How do you teach it to that? The community has to. The community has to support it.
No, it is something he has to support it. Very good. So the deal is what he was arguing about, that this person should be given
No, sir.
to pay for it's not fine. It's not anything about community. Whatever he's given is moving around. In other words, if right now the community is giving him X amount of dollars, but she didn't give at least this girl over here, this girl now can taking the favor of somebody else, and how should we
He went to a mitzvah in the morning, he went to another mitzvah, and he got kicked in the face. That's I didn't you don't even defend me. I go to I saw the pleasure of kick in the face.
did you take pleasure in that?
I didn't get much pleasure in it. But I told him, I says, I knew going into it, I should have stopped him from even pursuing the other mitzvah, but I don't know what it is. I still want him, whatever you're having, and the guy comes and gives you back to type, and he doesn't, I say, it belongs to you, I'm very sure. Well, the station I agree with the rabbi one time Thursday night, right, because I have to go in the car on the road. I'm telling you this. I got a long time on it's a long night. Otherwise I'm in the house, I don't leave the house until I get it. This is on tape. That your name was quoted in handling Eretz Yisrael. This is on tape. I don't care who it is. You can tell it to them. Someone quoted your name as saying Eretz Yisrael treats American bad, and to prove it, the Aharon even came back from Eretz Yisrael. If you let that person say your name, to have an Eretz Yisrael, and you talk to him, and I have 3 shortish about the person, they know why I came back anyway. Yeah, but they quoted because the Americans are not treated properly in Eretz Yisrael.
I said that?
He did as a minister. I know who it is. But I have. Well, you see, if you're not like Amy Seaman, you just keep quiet, smoke another cigarette. I'm very, if someone used my name against me, I will walk to that person and spit his face. I want to see a person use my name. Said yesterday, Friday morning. Now I have to see this party and then retract this statement. You want to get around the dark. You want to for the that's the biggest sin in the world. Which and you know what I said? Why did you say? I said that's why I came out and managed to know it was really
Moshe Shemla, right? It's not Shemla, it's Moshe Shemla.
I came out strictly to keep it down. You still, and I have Baruch Hashem, I had no idea that my mother was with you. I don't care. And I told them to stay with you, and I said, I'm just trying to do it, that's all. The only reason why I love David Israel, and I told him I hate the reason, I guess I feel that my mother's like my mom, I didn't want to, I did. And they didn't say that. I was saying that, and I like you are not saying that this is Hashem, Moshe Shemla. I'll ask you a question, but as you say, a person will try to take the question. I didn't know this. I said to the my heart was telling me. My heart was telling me. The answer was no. It's only the opposite. You're not allowed to read. You're not allowed to read. I know but when I class out that kiruv Aharon is only when you're in town, you should stop learning and do what they tell you, then go back to learning. But if you're out of town, then there's a more important thing. That's really but I didn't see that. I came on my own. My heart was telling me to do this way. When I first come to the outside, I told my own, raise me and make I'll ask you a question. When before someone said something about the